There's a deer. All right, welcome to the Board of Adjustment September 28, 2010 meeting called to order. I'm Brad Walker, Chairman, and I'm present. Jim Cecil, Vice Chairman.
Present.
Ms. Kathy Desideer.
Present.
Mr. Bill Lee.
Present.
Mr. Tyler Glue is not present. Mr. Stephen McGowan is not present. All right. And I'd like to open it up for a public comment period. If you have a comment about this board itself, please come forward and speak, sign in. If you have something to say about something on the agenda tonight, we have 2 items on the agenda tonight. You'll get a chance on those items to speak also. Anybody need to speak? Going once? Twice? Okay. Public hearing's closed. Do I hear a motion about the minutes?
I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to approve,
I'll second.
accept it.
Motion by Mr. Jim Cecil, seconded by Ms. Kathy Desideer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Do you hear a motion about the acceptance of the written decisions?
I move we accept them as written.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Bill Lee, seconded by Ms. Kathy Desideer to approve the written decisions of August 24, 2010 as written. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. All right. Our first review tonight is Zoning Review ID 2090.10, Lot 20, Sandy Ridge Subdivision for Randy McAllen, located on the south side of Klein Peter Drive, approximately 500 feet east of Ridge Road. Is anybody here to talk about this tonight? Please sign in. Is the person Randy McAllen?
Yes.
Okay. Please tell us what you're trying to do.
I have a lot on Klein Peter Road, which we had believed was an acre all this time because all our paperwork, whenever we got appraisals and everything, always said 1 acre. I'm trying to help my daughter out to establish her credit, and we wanted to. She was about to get married, and so they purchased a trailer because they were able to get the $3,000 rebate for first home buyers. So we wanted to add it onto our lot. But then we found out our lot's actually like 0.96 acres instead of being 1 acre, and you're supposed to have 1 acre in order to be able to add a second residence to your lot. We went ahead and had purchased the trailer thinking there was no issue on putting it on our property, and then that's when we came out and we found out about if it was just below 1 acre. So what we'd like to do is just add the trailer to our lot until we can get her established so that she can actually move the trailer onto, purchase a piece of land. We had gone and tried to purchase a piece of land, but whenever you purchase an actual property as opposed to purchasing a house, there's only a few banks that do it, and it's extremely tough right now to try to purchase property. I mean, the banks just aren't really into it at the moment. So that's why I'm here. And then we'd sent out, you did the certified letters, which we sent out to the neighbors, and 2 out of 3 of the neighbors are okay with it. And our subdivision has about approximately 26 trailers already in the subdivision, which Ridge Road, Klein Peter Road, is made up of a variety of houses from up to almost $300,000 houses down to trailers, so I didn't see any issues as far as it causing any kind of problems. And I mean, I only had one opponent, which is my neighbor. But whenever I had our original appraisal back in 1998, according to the appraiser, he said that just so we can get all this clarified. He said the area is composed of a wide range of housing, including several trailers. This characteristic is common throughout most of the parish and appears to have little or no adverse effect on property values. My neighbor and I are trying to work it out because he's going to be retiring soon and wants to sell his house. So he didn't want it to depreciate his value, which I totally understood, and we talked about it, and so that's kind of where we're at as far as that goes. I mean, everybody else is good with it, so that's what I'm up here. I'm just trying to help my daughter get started and get them going. Obviously, it's a brand new trailer that we bought. We're going to put up a fence in between the two properties, and be well kept.
Okay.
So that's my side.
Anybody at the board have any questions?
Yes, sir. You gonna move this? Let's put it this way. Your neighbor has a problem with you moving in. I can understand why, like you said.
Yes.
And is he here tonight?
Yes.
Okay. Then I'll defer that question
Yes, absolutely.
to you. Second of all, you're limiting yourself to 4 years.
Yes. Well, I had put a 4-year on there because I was really just trying to work out with my neighbor to try to help him out.
Okay. Is it?
I mean, I don't know if that's a requirement or not, but I mean,
It's not a requirement.
Yeah, I was just actually doing that for us to try to work it out, and then, if I don't have to put the 4 years, I mean,
Well, it's not that. I just wonder where you came up with that number at.
well, what it was,
Do you think that your daughter's going to have enough credit? She said you want to build her credit.
and that's, I mean, I was just kind of coming up with a figure based on when he was trying to sell his house. We wanted to just start putting money to the side in savings, which we're going to help her out as well as her doing it herself.
Okay.
And I was hoping the 4 years would do it. That's really where the 4 years came from. Because I mean, I care about my neighbor at the same time. I mean, my personal opinion is just due to the neighborhood that it's not really going to depreciate the value in his house, but he does feel that it will, which he can allude and let you know, and tell you. So I was just trying to work it out. So I'm trying to help out my daughter and trying to work with my neighbor at the same time.
Well, this board can put limitations on you also in order to approve. And I'm not saying that's going to happen.
No, I understand.
But what I'm saying is, if you were to come, if this board would mention that it can never become rental property.
Oh yeah, yes.
And once your daughter decides,
I would definitely
to
like it not
relocate, that
Yes.
the trailer don't remain. It has
right.
to go with her.
Yes.
That kind of limitations. Are you willing to?
Yeah, I would. I think if you put definitely no rental and that the trailer would leave with her, yes, because I don't want the trailer to be there permanently either.
Okay.
This is just to try to get her going. But no, I'm totally all for that.
Okay.
And I don't want to turn it into rental property for sure. Not on my lot. I'm not into doing that.
Anybody else? Okay, if you have a seat, we're going to open up public hearing. If anybody wants to say anything for or against this variance, please come up, sign in, and come to the speaker. The mic. Okay.
Hi, I'm the neighbor.
Okay.
My name is Glenn Rayno. If you grant this variance, I'll basically have a trailer adjacent to my front yard. I sympathize with Randy and his family, and hopefully after the meeting we can go and shake hands, however it comes out. But Randy's hardship, if you grant the variance, causes me a hardship. My wife and I have both reached the age of retirement, and we plan to retire within the next year, 2 years, maybe 3 at the most. And at that time, we will in all likelihood sell the house and move closer to my parents who are in their 80s. So any decrease in property value will not be a prospective decrease in property value. It'll be a real property value decrease because we intend to sell the house. We don't intend to keep it and rent it or anything else like that. We plan to retire and try to get out of all of that. So this is not a prospective hardship. This would be a hardship. And I think it's well recognized that having a trailer next door depreciates the property value, decreases it. In fact, this particular house, my wife saw for sale about 2 years before we bought it. And she came home and told me it was about the perfect perfect property. The lot was fine, the house was great, but there was a trailer next door. And so we didn't buy it. I didn't even go and look at it because there was a trailer next door that Mr. McCallum lived in. And they've since built a house, and the house went back up for sale later. And she came by and told me, and we went out, saw the house, and immediately started bidding to buy the house, and we did. Never considering at that time that we would have to deal with this issue again. There are trailers up and down Ridge Road, but none of them are in this area. None of them are within sight. We had one directly across the road from us, but that trailer's been condemned and moved out. In fact, I think there's a woman living in a camper trailer under a cover where that trailer was, and she's building a house in the house. She'll move in the house sometime later this year, according to what she told my wife. But if you grant the variance, with this one, there's no end in sight. I had concerns about setting a time limit because once a trailer gets in and people actually live there, it's going to be real hard to tell them after X number of years that they have to move out if they're not able to or ready to or whatever. And so even if I would wait until that time to try to sell the house, or if I sold the house before, I can't promise somebody that in X number of months or X number of years that the trailer will be gone, because I just don't know that. So at this point, while I recognize that Mr. McCallum has a hardship, I think that with patience and proper planning, they can move that trailer. They can live in that trailer somewhere else. I'm stuck with the property that I have. I can't move it to get away from the situation that's going to devalue my house. And so if he is granted the variance, then it's like me taking whatever the devaluation is and taking that cash and throwing it up in the air.
Can you tell me exactly where you live at?
I live at 14224 Ridge Road. It's at the corner of Ridge and Klein Peter.
Is that the old McKee place?
Yes,
Are you aware there was a trailer there before the McKees built that house there?
sure were. Yep.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yes.
We got a question for you?
Well, first of all, you said you're going to retire in 1 to 2 years.
Well, 1 to 3.
1 to 3.
Yes.
Okay. And are you going to sell your house prior to your retirement or after your retirement?
Probably right around the time of the retirement. I don't plan on, I have no other place here to live, so it would probably be immediately afterwards.
The reason why I say is, and I explained earlier, if we put a condition on that trailer, it becomes law. And they, not whether they can stay there because they can't move or they can't, it's law. They have to move. So that's why I mentioned it earlier, because he gave a stipulation of 4 years.
Right.
And apparently, and I'm not going to go back and forth on this, okay?
Sure.
But there was some talk or agreement.
Oh yeah, we've talked quite a bit about it, and we've tried to help them find at least avenues to look for financing, that kind of thing. And at this point, I think our interests are just at odds. I don't think that we're at odds. At least I hope we're not. And I don't hold any hard feelings whatsoever for him trying to do this. I realize he's trying to help his family, but I'm trying to help mine too. And like I said, this is something we looked at, we considered, and with the houses on both sides being built, it never entered my mind that there would be another trailer come in adjacent to where we were. If I had known that, I would never have purchased the property.
Well, that's why, and I'm going to make this quick. Nowadays, times have changed, and I've discussed this with staff myself, because we see this more and more of secondary living arrangements. And unfortunately, if you're within the law and you have the right to ask for a variance.
But a variance is also
Yeah, I understand.
an exception to the law, and as I understand it, the law was put there, for a purpose. It was put there to promote growth, controlled growth. It was put there to aim the growth into the proper channels with considerations of, infrastructure, roads, drainage, sewage, electricity, but also quality of life and also the maintenance of property values. And if you grant the variance, I think it's a step back in our area.
I have no further questions.
Any further questions? No.
Yeah, granting this type of variance is the kind of thing we do fairly often for family subdivisions. So this is, had you not spoken up, this would probably have been a slam dunk.
Yeah, and
So-
I really understand that has happened in the past, but again, to me, this is not a prospective thing. This is a real thing that's going to happen. It's not something that on paper the value of my house will go down. This is something that when I take it to the bank, I won't be able to put in as much because we do plan to move. If there's a time limit put on it, that may certainly help the situation. But if I retire in a year and then I have to hold the house for 2 years, if I retire in 3 years and there's a 4-year limit and I have to hold it for another year, it's still, it's going to cost me one way or the other. But, if you do grant it, then I would ask, please, to put as short a time period on it as you can possibly do. But again, my concern with setting the time period, and I told Randy that, is that at the end of the set-aside time period, you can ask for an extension. And I have no guarantees that that extension at that time won't be granted. And then like I said, it's hard to tell somebody who's there that they have to move out because they can then possibly claim even worse hardship than what it is now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to speak for or against this variance? Okay. Mr. Ryan, if you will come up and rebut for 3 minutes.
I love my neighbor. I mean, there's no things between us. It's just our opinions and how we're, looking at this. So it's not, we have no arguments between us two. I mean, I still think that, and this is my opinion, and everybody has their own opinion, is that if somebody's going to come look at that house and they're looking at the whole subdivision, we just don't know for sure that that's going to change the value of his house. I'm not totally sold on it because we have a taxidermy who's just down the road. I mean, as soon as you turn, he's out there doing deer and all kind of wildlife, and then we've got a farm, and we've got trailers all over the place. We've got a lady who decided to grow weeds in her yard, and you can't see her house because the weeds are that high. Literally cannot see her house. I mean, so just the nature of the subdivision, I'm just not totally sold on the fact that it would depreciate its house. Of course, I can't say yes or no, but it just depends on the buyer. You just got a lot of variances there.
I have a question.
Okay.
Is the mobile home going to be in your name, or
No.
it's in your daughter's?
Yes, we were trying to.
Okay, is it strictly in your daughter's name, or your daughter
With
and
actually
her future son-in-law?
Yeah, my future son-in-law.
Okay, so it's just in his name. It's not in your daughter's name.
That's right. I don't believe it's in your name at all. Are you part of it?
So you're
Okay,
on
it's
the
both
title.
of them. Yes. Okay. Then yes, that was the whole purpose actually. Originally, is
Okay,
to have them both on there.
If something happens to their relationship and she's not able to afford the mobile home or whatever,
Well, I mean, what we would have to do is assume the mobile home. I mean, keep paying the notes and sell it
okay.
and get it off the property. Because my goal is not to leave a trailer on my property. That is definitely not my goal.
Okay.
So it sounds like the 4 years is there flexibility there down to 3 or 2, or would it make?
Well, I think the 4 would really help us out to really get. I need to get, obviously, after going to the bank, because we were going with them over there to the bank and talking to them about a $10,000 down payment, and they said, no, we're looking at a piece of property, and they said no, and I said, so what else could we put down? How much more would we have to put down? And they said, there's nothing. They were just like, weren't even willing to work with us. Like, times have obviously changed dealing with the banks than it used to be. Because it used to be you could just ask them, like, what do we need to do? What would I have to do to make this work? You know, and that's the scary part to me, is I just don't know exactly in 4 years how the banks are going to deal with me or with us. You know, I mean, it's just kind of a weird situation.
But you do understand that in 4 years, irregardless, if she hasn't gotten her credit together,
that yes, if we make it a 4-year,
if you still hadn't been able to buy a piece of land, that she's going to have to move that
no matter
mobile
what,
home.
yes,
No matter what.
right. But it would give me some
it doesn't
time.
matter. And I mean, I know that
to,
it costs quite a bit of money to move the mobile home itself, period.
sure,
So she's looking at buying a piece of property or renting a piece of property, and then the cost of moving the mobile home.
right. That's right.
So I just want to make sure that you have a clear understanding that there's really no coming back to the well after 4 years.
Yes.
You come back and you say, oh, well, she can't afford to move the mobile home.
No, I understand.
Then
I know where you're
as
going.
far as we're concerned,
Yes.
it's not a problem. You have to move it.
Right.
So I want to make sure that you have a clear idea that we do these in situations where it's a temporary fix to a hardship. It's
Right.
not a permanent solution, and we don't even offer that in cases of I need my daughter living beside me because I'm in poor health.
I got you. Yes.
You know, since Katrina, we've had a lot of secondary residences. And I know you've gotten yourself caught in the situation of you thought you bought an acre, but you really didn't.
Right.
But the problem here arises that the only reason we offer any fix, even a temporary one, is to help our residents out.
Right.
But at the same time, we do understand and realize that it does affect the people that live around you.
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely.
So we can't offer these as permanent solutions because it's not fair.
Yes, and that's why that's why I actually went over there and talked to my neighbor and let him know what I was planning on doing. So I wasn't trying to just blindside or, I wanted to make sure we talked about it. I mean, I thought that was very important. And we did, and here we are.
Okay, thank you. Any other public hearing? Okay. I'm going to close public hearing. I just got one thing to say. I can't vote and I can't make a motion. And I live on Ridge Road. Okay, and I live next to a trailer. Okay, I don't think it does anything for my property value one way or another because Ridge Road is what all these people at the planning meetings have been saying, rural character. It doesn't get any more rural than Ridge Road in the back. It's a mix of everything. You know, even down Kleinpeter Street, there are some houses, but there's a lot of trailers. Okay, and I think everybody down Ridge Road started off in a trailer and then built a house. You know, and that was their stepping stone. You know, I can go on a couple of things. Even so, you know, a lot of people complain about kids moving out of state. You know, there's no affordable housing. You know, how do you get affordable housing to keep kids in your area, keep kids down your street? You know, so that's just my 2 bits down Ridge Road. I mean, Ridge Road is not a Baton Rouge subdivision that's around here that you're putting a trailer in a subdivision. It is rural, you know. So that's my only thing. A motion?
Well,
comment?
I'm going to make a motion, but first I'm going to make a comment. And this is just something that I feel that we encourage people to move into the parish. And just like the gentleman was saying, you have to come in and look at your circumstances and make the best choice that you can. And you come in and you invest your life savings and you hope that your value and that parish officials are going to at least protect your financial interest in the future. That said, the problem we have is that we have allowed these secondary residences, and if someone can prove hardship, we're pretty much hard placed not to agree under some circumstances to allow them some temporary relief for a hardship. I'm going to make the motion. He has 4 years with the mobile home in place. If you put the mobile home on there in October of 2010, it's got to be gone October of 2014. The clock doesn't start somewhere down the road. She and future son-in-law have fallen out, and she ends up kicked out of the trailer. The trailer has to be moved because she's not living in the trailer anymore. You've got a situation you've created there where you've got a third party that has no relative relationship to you. If she moves out and son-in-law decide they've got some great opportunity somewhere else, it has to be moved. It cannot sit there vacant. It cannot sit there as a rental property of any type. And all these costs are bared by you to get it out and to get it someplace else other than in your subdivision. I know you mentioned that, of course, this is not part of my motion about the fence. I would hope the fence goes and cuts off your neighbor's property as well, that it goes all the way around. It doesn't just come on one side of your property. So I am going to make the motion that the time limit 4 years from the date it's moved on to the property, and it can never be rental, and if she's not living in it, it's not there.
You also, just a moment, and I agree, I'm going to second that motion. But the problem, you had talked to him about it's his responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to still be his responsibility?
Yes, it's his responsibility
property
because it's
owner.
on his
but
property.
I'm saying, you know,
If somebody leaves an abandoned car on my property, I have the legal rights to remove it, even though I don't own it.
so you totally understand what she said. It's your responsibility. Okay.
All
I
right.
second the motion.
All right, now I got to read this back. All right, Ms. Kathy Desideer made a motion, seconded by Ms. Jim, that requires a 4-year stipulation. Will approve as written with a 4-year stipulation that the trailer has to be moved in 4 years. If daughter moves out of the trailer has to move out, and it also cannot be used as a rental property at all. Did I get that? Is that everything?
We're assuming all the regular permits for
Well, yeah, that's
utilities.
Yeah, but that's
all those in
something-
favor.
All right.
Aye.
Okay. Motion approves. Thank you. All right. Next zoning review ID is 2110.10, lots 2 and 4 being a portion of the Little Prairie subdivision for Larry Cuvillon, located on northwest corner of LA Highway 42 and Little Prairie Road. All right. Can you please state your variance and hardship?
Yes, my name is James Falgerson, Mr. Larry Cuvillon, on the following subdivision, asking for a variance on, let's see, what the exact wording is it? Site requirements, purpose and intent, setback and yard requirements. When the state came in and did Highway 42, they took a big bulk of Lot 2, which left him a lot that was basically unusable, nothing, he couldn't use it. I mean, as you can see if you rode out there, the metal building that's there, which is the gravel is actually encroaching onto the other lot. We're trying to make a more desirable lot by increasing that lot by 30 feet and reducing the lot 4 to 100 foot. Mr. Cuvillon does have a purchaser for lot 4A and is willing to accept the 70 foot of frontage, which just would increase the size of lot 2-A, making it a more usable lot.
And Lot 2A is currently for sale as well, correct?
Yes, ma'am. He's
Okay.
retiring and unloading property.
I have one question. I'd asked Lance. Lance, did you find out the info I was looking for on
Yes,
this
sir, I
one?
sure did. Basically, there was an issue with the parking. I was worried that if we granted it and we would, for the hardship, we may create another hardship, I guess you could say, dealing with the parking. I did the calculations, and he could fit 5 parking on the property, which is basically what the building is now. What it would be required is to have 5. So I want him to understand that if there's any increase of the building, or if there's any use that would require more parking, that there's a, I'm not going to say for sure, but there's a possibility that he could not fit his parking on that lot.
He's aware of that.
And why, my question is why splitting up the 2 versus selling them all as one if he's selling lot 4A?
What's that?
Is he selling lot 4A or going to stay living at 4A?
No, he's selling lot for it. Yes.
Okay, so he's selling both.
Yes.
Why would you split it versus selling it all?
Well, it's existing as 2 separate lots. It's not one lot right now. It's 2 separate lots. There's lots 2 and lots 4. It's 2
Okay,
lots,
so
yeah.
lot 4.
If you see, look behind the metal building, that dash line right behind it, that faint line, that
Yeah.
was original lot 2 from there to the right-of-way monuments in the front.
Oh.
As you can see how small it was. And we're increasing it by 30 feet because right now the gravel for that building is actually over that line. There's nothing they could do with it. I mean, you can't do anything with that lot.
Yeah, I guess what I think Brad was trying to ask is, of course, we're getting into real estate marketing here,
Yeah, we
about
wanna go off
selling
that.
both pieces of property to the same
We
purchaser.
definitely
Well, I mean, the person who's going to buy the house is not going to want to buy the building
Yeah.
too.
Okay. Any other questions for him?
I was curious just how much land the parish bought when they bought
I got a
the
map.
right-
I can show you
Is
that
it a half acre?
if you'd like to see it. It was the state, I believe, not the parish.
Yeah, state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
State, okay.
42. Right there, 44 and 42.
Oh, okay.
It couldn't have been much.
Oh, it was actually a good bit.
It's right
Oh,
I
it
mean,
was?
it was. I mean, you would like to see the
Prairie,
map?
you know where their Prairie
Yeah, I know
Road
where
is?
that
Right down the corner.
Okay, gotcha. Just trying to get an idea how much land.
this was the original.
Probably a good bit if I had to look at it. If I had to guess, it was probably about the same size as the original lot.
They took it pretty much about half the size of the lot.
Yeah.
Took up half the lot, okay.
See, this was the original shape of the lot here. And came in and purchased this piece here.
About half. See, because it was probably the same as the original lot.
Same acreage.
All the same size.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, if you give us a sec, I'm opening a public hearing. Anybody for or against this, please come speak. Come on, y'all got to speak if y'all here. Not that that's a requirement. It'd just be nice.
My name is Agnes Kuvian, and I'm the owner with my husband Larry. And we own both of the lots 2 and 4, and it's all a portion of the Little Prairie subdivision. And they were both for sale. We have come up with a buyer for lot 4. We do not have a buyer for lot 2. They only wanted the property with the house on it. Therefore, and they were originally thought that the property was only going to be 70-foot frontage to begin with. That somehow or another incorrect measurements were given to those people. But they're satisfied with the 70-foot frontage. That's no problem with them.
Okay.
So we're just requesting that we take the 30 feet from that property 4 and put it with lot number 2 for additional 30 feet, making it a more desirable piece of property for a potential buyer. This shouldn't have any adverse effect on any of the residents of Little Prairie subdivision, and the survey has been made to reflect these changes.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
You've already, I assumed, I guess I shouldn't have, that you already have a buyer
For lot 4.
for
Yes.
lot 4. And is contingent on us giving you a variance? Okay. I'm
That's
just
correct.
now I'm catching up here. Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to close public hearing. Do I hear a motion, comments, questions?
Yes, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion that we approve this as written. I really don't see a problem. I think the problems were worked out, so, and with the understanding of if the use of that metal building, you remember you only have 5, correct? 5 parking spaces. Remember, can't use that building, not in case it requires more than 5 parking
Exactly.
spaces.
Yes, sir.
Okay, because you won't go through a whole nother
Yeah.
ball
Can
of
of
wax.
worms. No,
Yeah.
no, no intention.
So don't push the envelope.
No, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
No, sir.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it. Just so you have to say my name again.
I know. All right, I got approve as written by Mr. Jim Cecil and seconded by Ms. Kathy Desider. Do I hear all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Variance is approved. Thank you.
Make a motion to adjourn.
A motion adjourned by Mr. Jim Cecil,
I'll second it.
seconded by Ms. Kathy Desider.
Aye.
You said it right first time.
I know, I'm just teasing. I had to say it wrong once. Okay, all those in favor?
All right.
Motion adjourned.